Today, I'm going to talk to you about phrasal verbs that have to do with speaking. That's coming up. Many of you out there would like to practice and improve your speaking skills. Many of you would also like to learn phrasal verbs and learn how to use them. So in today's lesson, I'm going to combine those two ideas and talk to you about phrasal verbs that deal with speaking. Let's start with the verb talk. And the first phrasal verb I have for you, and possibly the most common, is talk to. Talk to someone. And when you talk to someone, you are directly speaking to another person.
I have to talk to someone.
Are you talking to
Me?
I suppose that you could also talk to something as well.
Talk to the hand.
Probably just talking to a tree right now.
You been talking to my car?
Those two are falling in love. I'm talking to a dog.
Most of the time, we're talking about another person. You talk to someone. This is very similar to another phrasal verb, talk with. And they're basically interchangeable. You are speaking directly with another person. Talk to, talk with.
Don't talk with me.
I've talked with the others.
Well, it was very nice talking with you.
The only difference is that talking with, it really implies that there is another person you're having a conversation with. So for example, I could talk to myself in the mirror. I wouldn't really say talk with because there's no other person involved. So that's why I think it's a little more common to talk to someone or something. The next phrasal verb using talk is to talk someone up. Notice that someone goes in between the verb and the preposition. And when you talk someone up, then you are just speaking very enthusiastically about this person. So if you're in a group of friends, you can talk him up, you can talk her up. Maybe you could talk me up and tell everyone about interactive English. Another good example is like in a job interview. You go in there and you want to talk yourself up because you want to show them that you're the best. To talk someone up.
No, I was talking you up.
You shouldn't have been talking me up. You should have been taking care of...
I talked you up, okay? She's so well read.
Good, because I've got so many people I want you to meet. I'm talking you up like crazy here.
Another phrasal verb which is not so good is to talk back to someone. Talk back. And this means that you are replying to someone in a rude manner and you're not being polite. So for example, if there's a conversation and somebody tells you to do something and you don't want to and you're angry, you might talk back to this person. Often you hear it in situations like children talk back to their parents, maybe employees sometimes talk back to their boss. But when you're talking back to someone, you are not being very nice. And more often than not, you should be polite in these situations. But instead, you're talking back.
Don't talk back to your dad. How dare you talk back to a senior ranking officer?
He's not listening, he's hostile, he's talking back.
Don't talk back.
Now let's look at speak, because there are several phrasal verbs using this verb. The first one I want to talk to you about is speak up. And this just means to raise your voice and make it a little louder. So often if you're having a conversation, somebody might ask you to speak up because they can't really hear you well, they don't know what you're saying. You might hear this when talking on the phone because there's other noises and maybe it's difficult to understand somebody, so they might say, hey, could you please speak up a little?
Could you speak up, please?
Please. Come on, speak up.
Could you speak up, Mr. Roberts, doesn't hear so well?
Speak up, George! I can't hear you!
You what say? Speak up! I can't hear you with that bubble down.
We can change this meaning completely by adding another preposition to make it a three-word phrasal verb, and that is speak up for someone. Speak up for. And if you are speaking up for someone, then you are just defending this person. So you may want to defend this person because they're being attacked and you want to speak up for him or speak up for her, or maybe even speak up for yourself.
If we don't speak up for them, who will?
You can't speak up for us, at least speak up for yourself.
Is the peacekeeper
On me for speaking up for you.
And Miss Bruckheimer and I are here today as patriots, speaking up for the common citizen.
Now we can remove up and make it a two-word phrasal verb once again with another new meaning. Speak for someone. And when you speak for someone, you're basically representing this person's beliefs, this person's opinion. You are speaking for this other person. Often it's used in some context where there's a group of people and you might say, I speak for everyone when I say this opinion or this belief. So for example, I could say, I think I speak for everyone when I say, you should hit that like button.
I speak for this family.
But I know I speak for everyone.
I speak for the trees.
I think I speak for everyone when I say you shall be missed.
Oh, and I think I speak for everyone here when I say, thank you for taking us in.
Another phrasal verb, which is so common, is this one right here, and that is shut up. Now, this phrasal verb is important because it does have a couple of different meanings. The first one, which I think most of us probably think of, is firmly or angrily telling someone to be quiet. You don't want this person talking anymore. You want them to close their mouth. You don't want any more sounds coming out. You might tell them, shut up.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
Shut up!
The other way that this phrasal verb is used is kind of to express disbelief. So somebody says something that is outrageous, that you can't believe it, and you might just say, no, shut up. Shut up. Really? Shut up. So in this case, it's not really used to be rude or mean. You're basically expressing your disbelief. You can't believe what you're hearing. Shut up.
Shut up.
Shut up!
You were Beth? Shut up, what happened?
Now I want to practice what we've learned, and in the comments I want to hear from you. So I want you to write a sentence using one of these phrasal verbs, and to help you out, you can even answer one of these questions. Who is somebody that you would like to talk to? Have you ever talked someone up? Have you ever talked back to someone? Or has anyone ever talked back to you? Write to us in the comments, practice using these phrasal verbs, because to be perfectly honest, that is the best way to remember the meaning and really understand how to use them. I would please ask you to talk up interactive English. You can share this lesson with your friends, your classmates, anybody you know who's trying to practice and improve their English skills. And also, don't forget to click on the link in the description to get your discount and start talking to a native English speaker. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.